What's good? It's your boy Czar, all rights reserved. And today we're going to talk about some real stuff. Mostly what I want to talk about today is the brief meeting and FaceTime meeting that was on Instagram between Lil Durk and Tekashi. Now, why is this important? For several reasons. Number one, we recently seen what happened between Chief Keef and 6ix9ine during the height of the situation, as I talked about yesterday. So we saw that these individuals who were acquainted, as we know, GBE acquainted with Lil Durk's team OTF, they're equipped. And we seen Lil Reese speak up on Tadoe's behalf, and we heard about what happened with Tadoe and Chief Keef. Well, now it's at a situation where we seen OTF speak with Tekashi, and they admitted to having no issues. Where are we going with this? Because ultimately now it puts Chief Keef and Tadoe out there where they stand on their own too, possibly without the implications of Lil Reese and Lil Durk being involved. Now, they have separate teams because Chicago's such a large place that there's so many people. So there's a huge team unit building on what these guys are making as their infrastructure. So these are seasoned savages, allegedly, that have been through many issues we've seen in the media. But now we see that Tekashi's not only planning to go to Chicago, but he's making allies with some of the more seasoned individuals still in Chicago. So again, Tekashi with a winning strategy where he builds relations with others who he's not really beefing with, who didn't do what bothered him, who wasn't involved with the situation. Now, where's this going? I don't know. What's going to happen? We're only going to see. But ultimately, we can tell from what's going on in this scenario that Lil Durk's going to back off and he's going to let these guys handle their business, as he should. It's a man-to-man issue. Chief Keef stepped up on Tadoe's behalf, who actually did do the violating. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. We don't know if Chief Keef's going to make a random appearance back in Chicago. That wouldn't be good, because the thing is, again, as I said, they're separate teams. Once Chief Keef touched down in Chicago, he's home. So the connections he has are vast. So him going back home would really leave it up in the air for what's going to happen, especially if 6ix9ine visited and he happened to be there during that time. Now, ultimately, no one's looking to see violence. No one wants to see violence but the audience, or let me say, but the majority. That's what the danger is in this situation. They know what the majority wants to see, and they already made, let's say, an attempted attack, allegedly, someone did, on Chief Keef to try, and at the least, to implicate 6ix9ine when he wasn't involved. So we don't know where this is going to go now, because we know Chief Keef has a short temper. We know he doesn't play around. We know that if he has beef with someone, he's front and center. And that's what the crazy thing about this is. This is really testing their hand. This is really pushing their character, pushing them to a new level, a new ordinance of power, where now he got to defend way more than his name. He has to defend his life, because this is an attempt on a true to right savage that made his stardom off of savagery. And not only lyrics, but what he's allegedly done, what he's threatened to do to people who beef with them and is no longer here. We've seen this so many times and time again. Even if we're looking at Chief Keef's age when he was young, we see this. So where's this going? Where's this going to take the new generation of MCs who presumably made their growth, their mark, their knowledge, their stance off of the savagery? Now it's like you stand on what you said, or you go back. You know what I mean? Now it's definitely sitting at a new plateau. And that's part of my thing. It's at a new level. It's at a new area. We got these guys who ultimately don't have nothing better to do but to address each other right now because of what it means to be them in the media, to be who they are out there making the music. Now, something that bothers me, and it's ultimately that Chief Keef had no response because 6ix9ine came out and said, yo, he's one of my favorite rappers. I look to make music with him. There's been no response, you know? So ultimately, in my mind, what that says is that he's not really having an issue with Chief Keef. He's like, yeah, I guess I got a beef with GBE now because Chief Keef stepped up, but I'm not beefing with Chief Keef. You know, he inspired me. That's one of them things that inspired him. And Chief Keef inspired a lot of the young generation, a lot. Whether it's dreads, whether they're trying to do stuff, he inspired a lot. He changed a style of people across the nation. He took something in Chicago and made it unanimously everyone's style. So there's not really any gray area for him being who he is. So why are we going to sit here and act like we don't know or don't remember what he did and who he is? And that's one of the things Tekashi actually brought out. You know what I mean? Even when speaking to Durk, he's letting them know, look, you know what I mean? I have nothing against you. These guys did what they did. I wasn't involved in that issue. And, you know, Durk replied back to him, you know, like, F the ops, you know, F our ops. Whoever we're beefing with, whoever you're beefing with, that's your beef. You know what I mean? It's not my beef. It's not everyone's beef. He has his own team to worry about. And that's a respectable thing that everybody ultimately has to look at. You can't look at the situation and then look down on Durk for taking his stance and that stance. Actually, it is the smartest stance that I've seen someone take to a situation. He didn't jump out the window on him. He didn't dive in on him and say like, yo, I'm a come at this dude. He didn't do all that. He literally told him, look, that's your ops, I have my ops, period. That is a grown man answer. And now what I'm saying is it getting to a grown man situation? Is it going to lead to some other stuff? Or is it going to sit there and we're going to see these two hit the stage together and everything's going to be good? Because I'm pretty sure Tekashi knows he has other dramas to take care of, other beefs to quell. Also for Chief Keef, you know what I mean? Is he going to tell Tadoe to back down? Because ultimately, let's remember what this is about. China Dog. The beef started over a woman. So is it really worth these young men who aren't settling down with women, who aren't wifing up women, to fight over a woman? I don't really see the reason. I don't really see what progression it brings. But now it's about pride. And that's why I said we're going to know what it's going to turn into shortly, whether Chief Keef responds. Even if he doesn't, we just put it up in the air that we can expect potential savage shit. You know what I mean? That's just what it is, because Chief Keef don't play around. You know what I mean? He's never been a joke. He's never been that type of guy to be a game with because of where he's come from, because of what he stood for. His own place that he grew up in, that he survived in, Chicago, doesn't want him to perform because they think violence is going to ensue. That's letting you know his whole aura is around violence. It's around violent incidents. Via why we saw China Dog probably slide outside of the picture because she didn't want to be seen. Via why we also seen him step up so readily in Tadoe's beef, because he's like, well, you two aren't going to do anything without me being involved. Like, you're not going to hurt Tadoe. Tadoe's not going to be ousted because that's his guy. We see him in every video Chief Keef is in. But what is all of this worth Chief Keef's legacy? I mean, he has been monumental to the movement that we see out of Chicago. Every other rapper at the least followed a piece of his formula in order for them to be seen, especially if they got on in the industry. They literally followed a part of his formula to make it to that rank. Now this is definitely sitting up in the air without many answers, because I didn't know if I expected Lil Durk to get involved. I didn't know if Lil Reese was going to get involved. I didn't know who was going to get involved, but it seems like these seasoned veteran savages also at Chief Keef level are not going to get involved. So this is legit 6ix9ine versus Chief Keef. You know what I mean? Lil Durk made it clear, you know, your ops are your ops. My ops are mine. And they're dealing with their own situations back home in Chicago, because they're still there somewhat, Durk and Reese. So I can do nothing but respect each of these artists' stance, and we got to just hope for the best. You know what I mean? Like I said, we ain't looking for no one to get laid down over some drama like this. These are all potential artists to carry the movement for the youth further. I wish it was carried in a different way, but being carried in the way it is, there is nothing to clearly say, look, you know, these guys are responsible for this, he's responsible for that, him and him are going to war, him and him are going to war. There's nothing clearly set out. It's about men standing on the ground, making a definitive stand, showing everyone where they're at, showing everyone mentally how they want to see things go forward. And it's good to see some alliances being made around the drama, but the winning strategy looks the same. I got beef with this guy, he has affiliations with this guy, I'm cool with this guy, so now it's just me and you. And he did it again, and it's just smart because it's a better way for business. Making music right now with Tekashi is big business. That's where the money's at right now. Everybody knows that. Everybody could see that, from the views to the amount of songs he's putting out to the platinum plaques. Is Chief Keef coming the smart way? Let's see. All rights reserved.